Hey guys, what's going on? It is August 1st here. It's a Friday. This morning, here after feeding, my one heifer, my red heifer, was in heat. So a buddy of mine, he's been getting in artificial breeding. He came over and AI'd her this morning. So we got that taken care of. And now Dad and Pap's unhooking the New Holland mower from the 870. They got hooked up to the brush hog. I finished that up yesterday. This New Holland skid loader, we used it up there farm this morning, and noticed the wheel bearing was screeching, making noise, and it's out. When I was using the breaker bar to break these lug nuts loose, I could lift the whole axle and everything up there. So hopefully that's not too much of a big deal, but we're gonna get it tore apart here and see if we can get it fixed up. That's not the one. I didn't get the front one. Wow. The brush hog hooked up to the 870. Pap's over here across the road clipping this pasture off. We made these two pieces over here, and then this fourth pasture, the farthest one to the right there. You can't see because of the tree and house, but our neighbor made that. And then the top of the hill there, this lower half of the hill, and there's a little bit over there he didn't get. And that other piece, just places where it's not very nice to get the disc bind. Pap's over there mounted with the brush hog now. Yesterday, Pap and I had put the new blades on it, so it should be cutting pretty decent, and I hope it holds up, at least for what we want to use it for. That brush hog was abused over the years and used for mowing more than just grass, is mowing trees and all kinds of stuff, so that's why it was busted up the way it is. I mean, now it should hold up if we just use it for mowing pastures. You know, that's not necessarily hard on them. Over time, they're going to wear, obviously, but I put a good bit of work into that thing over the past couple of days, and I hope it holds up. But it's nice now to have that. That way we're not busting our disc bind up, because we have mowed that in the past, the disc bind, and then we mow around the fences with that 615 New Holland disc mower. Dad always runs that. But Dad and I got this New Holland tore apart here. Got to pull this whole housing and stuff out. Then we'll bring it in here and the shop and take it apart. He's on his way to get a bearing kit for it. Don't have too much bad to say about this New Holland skid loader, but we're always constantly replacing wheel bearings on this thing, and it's just so annoying. All four of them at least twice throughout the year. It seems like we're always constantly putting bearings in this thing. It was just up at the farm store getting worked on. Had that the drive pump on the one side was leaking. It was putting oil back in where it wasn't supposed to. And they got that rebuilt. They also rebuilt these two wheel bearings on this side. They did put a new housing on the one because it was pretty chewed up, and it was letting the dirt and stuff pull in to the seal, taking the seal out, and then it takes the bearing out once all that organic material gets in there where it's not supposed to be. And that's what takes the bearing out, no matter if you have grease in there or not. it takes the bearing out. Got her in here where we can get her tore apart. There's a snap ring here that seeds down in a groove on these here splines, and then your outer bearing, actually your inner bearing, which would be this one. You pull that out, and then this whole housing lifts up off here, and your outer bearing, the one that goes out, will be sitting down on that axle. So the inner bearing on these machines actually gets oil, the gear oil that's down in the drives here. So these here are your drive sprockets. So the inner bearing gets oil, it never goes out, being that it's constantly in oil. Same thing with that Gale skid loader. We don't have near the problem with that skid loader as we do this one. Now we've done our fair share of changing wheel bearings on that one too. I mean, we're dairy farmers. When our equipment gets used, it gets used hard. It gets used in the manure, so definitely not the easiest on it. These machines also got, that one there's got 8,000 hours, and the Gale, the main skid loader, it's got just hit 11,000. So there's no shame for them. We've never really had much issues with them besides just minor things like wheel bearings, which, I mean, they get used in manure and stuff, and when that gets pulled into the bearings, that's what takes them out. And bearings and stuff, they're not made like they used to be, so they don't last quite as well either. We do keep them greased. I keep them greased, but that don't matter if there's still material gets pulled in there. It just takes them right out. Used to be when I was younger, this was a pretty big job. We would always take them off and take them to get fixed somewhere, but Dad and I have done enough of these over the past couple years that I know how to do them now. There's really not much to them once you know the basics of it and you've done it so many times. So we'll get this tore apart here, get it cleaned up, that way when Dad gets back, we can throw it all back together and have our skid loader up and running again. These here snap rings, they can be a pain in your behind. We have two different snap ring pliers. They're definitely not the top of the line. I know there's better out there. We need to get a good pair because a good pair of snap ring pliers saves you wonders. There's just no doubt about it. Sometimes if there's enough play here, what I've done in the past is jam a screwdriver down in here. Just keep working it around that to get it out of that there groove where it's seated there. And then you can work it up off of there. But the problem is with those snap ring pliers, you can't hold it out long enough and pull up at the same time because it just slips right off. So sometimes it's better to have two people. I'm going to try a little bit here. If I can't get it, I'll have to wait till my dad gets back. Two of us to get it apart. This is what's left of the bearing. They're all apart here. That snap ring was not fun to get out. What I ended up doing was took a pick, which I definitely do not recommend that because if that gets stuck in your finger, that would not be good. But I stuck the pick in the hole of that snap ring there, got a hold of it, stuck the screwdriver down in there, and then once I got it in under, I just kept tapping on the screwdriver, which don't go telling Dad I was beating on his new screwdriver with a hammer. I always like to set a hammer or something on top like that. That when it pops up, it don't come flying off and hit you in the face. So I put safety glasses on too. That would not be a good day. But I gotta get the rest of this here junk off here. It's part of this bearing here. Have to get that to come off. And then these races in here are ruined. You get new ones in the bearing kit along with the seal. See, the seal here's junk. And there's a seal that sits down on your axle here too. The only thing that was good was the inner bearing, like I said, which I added to our collection. So if we ever have a problem, again, where the seals are fine, we just need a bearing, we just throw one of them in there because they're fine. They run in oil all the time, they don't get ruined. But in this case, the seal got taken out, so we had to get a whole new kit. And let me tell you, those kits are not cheap. But I get this part of this bearing tapped off here, get this cleaned up good, and we should be ready for the new stuff. You guys will have to let me know down in the comments what you think of these kind of videos. Do you like repair videos, or would you rather be with me out in the field when we're doing field work? Would you rather me not record this kind of stuff? I do know that you guys like the milking videos, which I need to get back into filming that more. It's an everyday thing to me. Do it twice a day, every day, so it's the same thing over and over again. So I really have no desire to pick up the camera and film milking. I do once in a while, but not very often. I will have to do that for you guys. But like I said, you know, when you do it every day, you never really think much of it. It's just part of your routine. If you don't have the camera with you, you're just, oh well, I'll film it some other time, and that some other time usually never happens because you get busy doing something else and forget about it. But I do like filming field work. Field work's definitely my favorite part about farming, so I do like to film that, but I do need to film some of the cow and the stuff here, the feeding and that kind of stuff too. Like I said, that's another thing that's just gets done every day, and don't think much of it to pick up the camera and film. But Dad got the skid loader back together. I let him film doing that. So that's good. While he was doing that, I was getting the stock trailer cleaned up. That time of year again where I take my heifer to fair. I like to clean the trailer up, make it look a little more presentable because it gets pretty dirty and doesn't get cleaned very often because it's always dirty. Gets dirty pretty fast hauling cattle, but I will tell you, that thing looks pretty sweet. I think had some aluminum brightener here that we put on it, and that really pulled all the gunk and the mildew out of the aluminum, made it shine again. Always appreciated looking at this thing after I wash it. The inside cleaned up nice too. Same thing with in here. Really pulled the manure and the oils off the cattle and stuff. You could just see it pulling it out of off the aluminum. But she's ready. Just gotta throw some bedding in here and ready to take my heifer to fair. She's here waiting to go. She knows what's up, don't you, Molly? Give the old 6-liter a well-needed bath too. It's not in the best of shape anymore, but it's still good enough for what we use it for. It's a shame the truck's got low mileage. It could really use. I noticed the frames. I don't know how bad the frame would be if you could get it sandblasted, redone, or you'd have to put a whole new frame under it. I really don't know if it's worth it. I mean, these 6-liters, they're not bad trucks. Not as good as what a 6.7 or anything like that would be. But it does need cab corners, rockers. We did talk about doing that. I don't think that would be too hard of a project. But the frame's what worries me the most. One of your most important parts. But like I said, it's got low mileage. I mean, I don't know, it would be probably worth fixing up. Seen the manure and the mud over the years, and it's really got things rotted out. I do need to glue that badge back on it. Come loose on me with the pressure washer, but other than that, yeah, she needed a bath. Pretty dirty. I think Pap finished brush hogging there in that metal piece across the road. I can see Dad, they got the Limbsaw. I want to show you guys, we had an old set of manure forks that came with that 642B when we got it, and we never used them. I mean, we don't use that skid loader for anything other than scraping the barn, and they're getting in bad shape where the forks go down here. But it was a nice attachment plate, so we thought we'll just use that to put this here Limbsaw on that my dad got. So we brought a piece out of the side there and put some gussets on the back side. And this piece here already had some bracing on it, so it made it nice. But he got this thing all together. I used it yesterday. You can use this one here in 2 positions. You can turn it and set it down. So there's another one of these down in under here on the bottom. So you can go in straight like that and cut little trees off along the fence. Or you can put it in this slot here and it'll stick way up and go along fence rows and cut trees off. That'll be pretty sweet. Like I said before, we got a lot of fence rows that need some attention. So, all depending on when we get around to it, I'll be sure to film this thing here in action. This is now later on in the week here. Got this Limbsaw. My pap used it the other day in the flat position, and we had the piece mounted right here. Well, the bracing on the old manure forks here had broke out, and it would get all twisted up. So I just took the torch and cut that out. Got a weld a new piece in here, and we'll be able to get all 4 holes in. Before I just had it welded on the one side and then just 2 holes with 2 bolts sticking in it. I made some gussets here. Be able to stick one here, and then this shorter one can fit up in here. Help strengthen that up good, because that's a good bit of weight, you know, when it's sticking out that far like that, swinging back and forth. It's pretty hard on it, so get her beefed up here and should be good to go. So I got this piece all welded up here. Now I look at it, it's kind of bowed a little bit, but I'm not sure if that's going to work too well because this here back is really getting thin on this here attachment plate. We thought it would work at first until we started welding on it, realized how thin it really was because of how rusty it got. But it was just laying around. We weren't using the North Forks for anything, so we thought we might as well try it. So I don't know. It might end up working. It is tweaked a little bit that way, but I think it'll be alright. Then I put the saw in the upright position. I wanted to bring it out here along the field lane here and show you guys how it works. So I doubt I'll be able to reach it. I might. Gotta try. This here limb sticking out. I pushed this off here one time. This 2 summers ago. It might have been last summer. I can't quite remember. It was growed out pretty well. I mean, you can push a good bit off with the skid loader, but when you get up that stuff that's real tall, you know, it's up and out of the way for our tractors. But if we get the big tractors and carts in here, especially like the silage chopper, or the big tractors hauling manure, you know, those tractors sit up a lot higher. They're wider. They can't get along them trees as well as ours can. That's the reason we got this thing, because normally we'd have to ride in the skid loader bucket and cut with the chainsaw, which is very dangerous. This here should cut back on time doing it. One person can do it, and should be pretty quick and easy, I would think. Never used it in the upright position. This will be the first time trying it, for me at least. Like I said, my pap used it in the lower position the other day. It worked alright for him. It cuts off pretty fast. So I'm going to set the camera up here, and you guys can see it cut off. Like I said before, it is 8 foot, and then whatever the reach is of your machine. Now this skid loader here, it's a Gale 7600. I tried looking up the specs of how tall it reaches, but I couldn't really find nothing. It's definitely one of the world's biggest skid loaders out there. At least it was at one time. I know the Gale come out with the 420 now, V420, which is slightly bigger than this machine, lifts a lot more, but I really don't think the height of your boom really changed a lot. This one here lifts a lot taller than most machines out there, but it doesn't lift out quite as far as what your normal vertical lift machine does. As you can see, you can make a mess out of things pretty quick. Didn't take long at all to trim that tree back. Now this one here, I did get one little limb up there, but this here top, I mean, that's a ways up there. You can flip the saw up further, but you're only going to get maybe an extra foot by doing that. But like I said, I don't think you're going to get a skid loader that can reach higher than this one. I mean, our new hauling reaches pretty high too. But yeah, you can reach a ways up there. At least at that height, you know, you can get the trees trimmed back that are sticking out that would be in the road for those tractors. I just wanted to get a little bit of video here at the end just to show you guys it in action. Yeah, pretty slick machine. Definitely a pretty gnarly blade on this thing. Doesn't take long at all to cut through. And I see it's pretty neat how they have these little grooves cut in there to keep your saw blade cool. It's interesting that whoever would have come up with that logic to keeping a blade cool like that, but yeah, this thing here, definitely got to be putting it to work. You guys will probably see it this winter some. But set a little bit of time today before we got a little bit of hay to make. Not much that's going to add up to anything. But not too much going on other than that. So I just wanted to get it out here and get in action for you guys. Show you what it's like running. That is going to be it for this video. Alright guys, catch you in the next video. Have a good one.